Howdy everyone. After the giant disappointment that is Summer Game Fest slash whatever you want to call it, whole video on that coming soon. I'm just waiting on Nintendo to announce a direct. I'm also waiting on Cory Barlog to say something about God of War Ragnarok, but I digress. Like I said, whole video on that coming soon. I thought I would go back in time to 10 years ago to see if E3 was any better in hindsight. The year is 2012, the tail end of the 7th generation. The previous year, Microsoft and Sony dropped their motion control add-ons, the Kinect and the PlayStation Move. On top of that, Nintendo has their next-gen console, the Wii U. We'll see what their library will be, and if it's worth buying day one. So did they deliver the hype? Let's find out. Microsoft opens up with a CGI trailer for Halo 4, followed by some gameplay. It pretty much looks like Halo. Of course, when the game launched, the campaign turned out to take a completely unique direction when it came to Chief and Cortana, though that wasn't revealed at the time. As someone who played and generally enjoyed the Halo games over the past year for the first time, I would say this isn't that bad. Oh, Don Matrick, this guy. He goes on to talk about how Xbox is not just a console, but an entertainment platform where everything is all in one place. It sounds like foreshadowing to 2013's E3. And holy shit, Sam Fisher. This is unfortunately the last time we see him for a while. In Splinter Cell Blacklist, Ubisoft introduces Kinect voice recognition. Who actually used this? Let's be real, who actually used this? Either way, the game looked decent, coming from someone who's never played a Splinter Cell game, so yeah, not bad. Maybe I should get around to playing them sometime. Next, Andrew Wilson gets on stage, and I noticed that every year, he looks more and more like an evil CEO. 2012's entries into the Madden and FIFA franchise are claimed to be better with Kinect, but really, this aged like milk. Soy milk is trash too!
And if you make a poor choice of words, you'll be sure to hear about it.
Who would want this? Especially during the 360 era. Has Fable the Journey ever been released? I don't ever remember seeing it on store shelves. I've never played any of the Fables, but I'm sure the fans did not ask for a Kinect spinoff. Up next, we get to see Giga Chad Phil Spencer. He introduces Gears of War Judgment, but shows no gameplay. I guess the hype might be there because it's the early 2010s, and Gears of War was still pretty big at the time. It was set to release in less than a year, and no gameplay. Forza Horizon is up next. This reveal made it look like a pretty but average racing game. Though after playing Horizon 5 last year, now I kinda see the hype, and I appreciate the franchise a little bit more. Up next, they spend way too much time on apps and services come to Xbox, such as Bing. Who besides Andrew Garfield actually used Bing? Oh, and we get crappy voice commands. I guess the Kinect is kind of a precursor to smart speakers like Alexa, but personally, I don't trust those things. What else is here? Machinima? Damn, I remember when that was a thing. Oh, and there's Xbox Music. I never knew that was a thing. And there's also Nike Plus. I'm pretty sure that never caught on either. Oh, and they also introduced Smart Glass, this feature in which tablets can get connected to an Xbox to pull up info for a show you're watching or as a second screen for a game. At the time, I thought this was gonna be Microsoft's answer to the Wii U, but obviously it never caught on. Like, overall, this whole segment is terrible. Oh wait, actually no, there's one more important thing. Internet Explorer is coming to Xbox. Really? No one's excited for that? I don't blame y'all. We finally get back to games, starting with the Tomb Raider reboot, which I played and liked a lot. And on the E3 stage, it looked great. Crystal Dynamics saw the success of Uncharted and realized they own Tomb Raider. So, you know, money printer go brrrr. But with that said, they did an amazing job selling, and more importantly, making this game. Ascend New Gods. I don't really have an opinion on this game. They said it's free to play. It looks really generic. Did it ever come out? Same with Loco Cycle. There isn't even any gameplay. Oh, but Resident Evil 6 is next. Honestly, I thought the game was okay. I understand the hate towards it though. Capcom strayed further and further away from survival horror, and it turned into this. Explosions. This presentation showed just what this game was gonna be, whether people liked it or not. And I thought, sure, Resident Evil 6. It was decent. Racketeer is another cringy Kinect game. The demo on stage went by fast though, at least. I never got around to finishing South Park: The Stick of Truth. I should probably get around to doing that. But this was really nice to see. Matt Stone and Trey Parker have charismatic on-screen presence, and the game was fun to watch, especially as a South Park fan. Dance Central 3 is one of the few games that actually looked like it worked well with Kinect. as opposed to Just Dance where you wave around a Wii remote. But this demo did not need to be as long as it did. It's f***ing Dance Central. And Microsoft finishes things off with Call of Duty. Really, Call of Duty? I never played Black Ops 2. I'm down to try it if it ever gets remastered, as it's considered one of the better ones. But this just looks like every other Call of Duty. Yeah, DLC did drop first on Xbox at the time, but this is how they finish off the show. I would have ended it with Halo 4, but anyway, on to EA. Many would consider Dead Space 3 to be the lowest point of the franchise, though similar to Resident Evil 6, this does not look all that bad. Yes, it looks nothing like a survival horror game, but it does look like a solid third-person shooter. And then we got Madden. Next up is SimCity, which also nearly put me to sleep. Didn't this game have some DRM controversy? Battlefield 3 Premium is shown next, which is basically a huge update to the game. But the way they talk about it, it seemed like a precursor to the heaping piece of garbage that is the live service. This is nice for people who are fans of the Old Republic, but this was a big snooze fest for me as well. And the same can be said with Medal of Honor Warfighter. We saw a campaign demo and a multiplayer trailer featuring Linkin Park. The evil CEO, Andrew Wilson, is back to talk about Madden again. This time he's talking about a crappy mobile game, I think. Like, honestly, I just tuned out the second Madden came on screen. Oh, and FIFA. It's f***ing soccer again. I don't give a shit. Oh, and EA announces they're putting out the UFC games now. Don't care about that either. And I never got into the Need for Speed games before, so the revival of Most Wanted doesn't really sell me on the franchise. And they finish things off with Crysis 3. Isn't this like the worst of the series? Like with many other of the games shown, this did not grab me. Overall, EA's conference was a bore. Hopefully, Ubisoft is better. Okay, Just Dance can go f*** itself. After that high dosage of cringe, we get Far Cry 3. I've never played it, maybe I should. But was it really worth the hype, and does it still hold up? Maybe I'll find out when I play it, maybe sometime before the end of the year? Who knows? We get a CGI trailer to Splinter Cell Blacklist next. Wasn't this shown already? Did we really need to see this game twice? Okay, riding off the success of the movie, and yes, I remember how massive the first Avengers movie was in 2012, Ubisoft is publishing Avengers Battle for Earth. Zero gameplay was shown, and all we know is that it is on the Wii U. Was this even good? I have no idea what this game is after seeing the trailer. Rayman Legends has been in my backlog forever. The game looks great, though the fact that it was ported to everything else later on showed just how unnecessary the gamepad is. And just like Rayman, ZombiU apparently could have gone without a gamepad as well. And next we get a montage of other Wii U games that aren't good enough to have their own segment. Rabbids Land, Your Shape, Sports Connection, Just Dance 4. None of these are good enough to have a demo, but an Avengers trailer with no gameplay is. Okay. These are trailers which I have a soft spot for, even though they never show gameplay. The Assassin's Creed trailers are always entertaining to watch. Assassin's Creed 3 looks like more Assassin's Creed. At this point though, the formula isn't entirely stretched thin yet. That's for the next generation. And what the f*** is this? Shoot Mania? This looks terrible. Was this ever popular? After a montage of other PC games that didn't catch on, we get to Ubisoft's big finale. One Giant Lie. The Watch Dogs demo opens with this pretty lengthy introduction saying, "Ooh, our data is getting collected by corporations," and it's followed by a fake-ass gameplay demo. There are videos everywhere comparing this with the final game, and the differences are pretty drastic. But with that said, Watch Dogs had the potential to be a Rockstar Games level title, but nah, instead we got another generic Ubisoft open world. Watch Dogs, on Sony now. It starts off with Jack Tretton paying tribute to Nathan Drake, Cole McGrath, and Solid Snake. Too bad two of them are MIA. Come on Sony, where's the Infamous remake? We also get an appearance from Kaz Hirai. Isn't he a poster on Twitter now? First game shown is from Quantic Dream. Back then, I loved their 2010 game, Heavy Rain, though it really does not hold up well. In their next game, Beyond Two Souls, Elliot Page stars as the main character, cosplaying as Eleven. Okay, this is Jodie Holmes. When I first saw this trailer, I thought she had superpowers. Turns out, in the game, it was a ghost. I don't know how I didn't figure that out. I'm not the smartest person. The game itself was a bit of a letdown, but at the time, I was sold. And like I said, I enjoyed Heavy Rain. and the graphics to Beyond looked great for 2012. Up next is PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. No, this isn't the first Battle Royale game. 2012 was a more peaceful time. This was actually Sony's attempt at a Smash Bros. Clone. After showing a match, Nathan Drake and Big Daddy are revealed to be a part of the roster. On top of that, this is one of Sony's first games to include crossplay between the PlayStation 3 and their newly released handheld, the Vita. I didn't care much for it back then, and honestly, I probably wouldn't play it if it were re-released today. But with that said, now that all the Ultimate DLC is out and there is a resurgence of Smash Bros. Clones, why not put out a sequel or a re-release to this game? Sony is trying to throw more of their budget into live services, so there's a chance that this might actually happen. We get an update to PlayStation Plus. Everyone who's there in person gets a year for free. On top of that, PlayStation Plus would be getting better monthly games like Infamous 2 and Little Big Planet 2. On top of that, PlayStation 1 Classics would be dropping on the PlayStation Vita. I think at this point, this is where PlayStation Plus actually seemed to be worth the money. The higher quality in monthly games were a big selling point in my opinion. Up next, some Vita games were shown. First was Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. No gameplay though. Good job selling the game. And then we got a short trailer to Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, and it looked like more Assassin's Creed. At first I was thinking, was this Vita border necessary? It turns out they're trying to sell a bundle that includes a white Vita with Liberation, and it was set to drop later in the year. And next, we get Assassin's Creed 3 gameplay. It's revealed that you can command your own pirate ship. This turned out to be a small part of the game, and we would have to wait a year later for Black Flag for the true pirate experience. After that, we saw Far Cry 3's multiplayer. Wait, this game had multiplayer? Up next is something for kids. This is Wonderbook, which uses the PlayStation Move. I never had one. Just like the Kinect, it dropped when the motion control fad was dying. This also required this book accessory, tells stories using a mix of motion controls as well as augmented reality. One of the stories they spent a lot of time on is the Book of Spells, written by J.K. Rowling. This really didn't hold up, but with the amount of crap that you need just to use this thing, no wonder it didn't catch on. Oh wait, I forgot this game had multiplayer too. But yeah, God of War Ascension. It looks like more God of War. I remember skipping out on this thing because the franchise was just beginning to look stale. Fortunately, Santa Monica Studio went on to put out the amazing soft reboot years later. And Sony ends things off with The Last of Us. At the time, this was a different change of pace for Naughty Dog. Their games were pretty lighthearted, okay, mostly lighthearted, though The Last of Us was much more dark and brutal. This 7-minute demo did a great job at setting up the world and characters, as well as showing off the gameplay. There are a ton of satisfying moments, such as this.
Man. Good job with all the, killing and stuff.
Overall, Sony won E3 2012. And last, but definitely not least, especially with EA's conference existing, we have Nintendo. Let's see if they can get me to buy a Wii U. Spoiler, they didn't. But nice. They are starting off strong. Pikmin 3 is a game that I've wanted for a long time, and it's still in my backlog. But with that said, this was still a satisfying moment. It was nice to see that Nintendo revived this franchise. Let's see if they can revive it again though. I promise I will actually play Pikmin 4 if it exists. Reggie the Goat went on stage to discuss the Wii U, the new controller. This is how they buried their own grave. It should have emphasized more that the Wii U was an entirely new console. The next game shown off is New Super Mario Bros. U, which honestly looks like another 2D Mario. It was pretty underwhelming to me. I even skipped out on the game when it was re-released on the Switch. Next, it was revealed that Batman Arkham City was coming to the Wii U, complete with gamepad features that feel tacked on, but still, it's nice to see a classic like this end up on another platform. Scribblenauts Unlimited was next. The franchise never looked interesting to me, so I tuned out. And then we got a montage of more third-party games, including Darksiders 2, Mass Effect 3, Tank, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Trine 2, Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, which apparently is the better version, and finally, Aliens Colonial Marines, which never released. But I guess that's a blessing in disguise.
Yes, my body was ready. He said it!
But the appeal for the Wii series has died at this point. This is followed by a really cringy trailer to Wii Fit U that served as a precursor to Nintendo's awful marketing for the next few years. After that is Sing, later to be known as Sing Party. It's a karaoke game where a big feature is that you can see the lyrics on the gamepad. Why? Why? Oh, and the trailer is playing Call Me Maybe back when that song was a thing. Now we move on to 3DS games, starting with New Super Mario Bros. 2. I just don't get the point of another new Super Mario, especially with an installment coming to the Wii U. It's like Nintendo thinks people will buy anything with the Mario name slapped onto it. Next is Paper Mario Sticker Star, the death of a franchise. I thought it looked dumb. I wanted the classic Paper Mario battle system from Thousand Year Door. This, I'm getting Bug Fables, and I'm probably gonna leave it in my backlog for the next 2 years. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is next, and it actually looked interesting. I grew up with the first one, and I enjoyed the third one. I would be down to try this if it ever got ported to the Switch. Actually, once it goes on sale on the Switch, because Nintendo would definitely charge full price for this. And we see another montage of third-party 3DS games, such as Castlevania Mirror of Fate, Epic Mickey Power of 2, Power of Illusion. Power of 2 is actually a launch title to the Wii U that they did not show here. Another Scribblenauts game, and Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Whenever I see this game, I always think of the Lego City commercial. You know, the one with the guy that goes, "Hey!" For kids, Lego City Undercover looks fine. It's GTA for kids whose parents will let them play GTA. But I tried it out when it dropped for the Switch. I thought it was pretty bland. Oh, and the Lego City game is announced to be coming to the 3DS as well. Was that game any good? We got some more gameplay on Just Dance and Zombie U, this time showing how the gamepad is used. And these just feel like cheap gimmicks. Oh, and we get a Ubisoft montage again. And Nintendo finishes things off with a minigame collection. I thought it would be a pack-in title, though it turns out it isn't. It isn't the worst thing that Nintendo has released, but it just feels so underwhelming. So that was E3 2012, a series of press conferences that were oddly nostalgic. It wasn't perfect, but at least it felt more organized. Everything was shown in the span of 1 week, and no one had to speculate if a Nintendo Direct would even happen. It had a lot of ups and a lot of downs. There are a ton of crappy gimmicks shown off that just did not catch on. Some reveals, like that Last of Us demo, still look great today. You hear that, Naughty Dog? That $70 remake